Also, communicating with the client is the most important thing you could ever do. It's so important, especially if you've never done their hair before. If you go into it thinking that this is what you're gonna give them and that's not what they want, that client's never gonna come back. So communicating with the client, over communicating with the client, because you're gonna run into a situation where you think that you gave them what they want and it's not, and then you've lost the client. It's just how it works. And just let it go. Let it go. There's gonna be new clients. Try to fix it, obviously, but like if there's no going back, then just suck it up and just let it go. You're gonna get more clients. Also, know your worth. Know your worth. I think it's super important to really understand and charge the prices that you think that you're worth. But when we're first starting, do everything for almost free. And I say that because you're getting people in the chair, and then once you start building that reputation or that relationship with those clients, then they're gonna start paying the money for it, right? But if you give them what they want at first, and they're like, well, I can't go anywhere else. Of course I'll pay for it. I have to go pay someone else. Why not would I pay this, right? And so how I built my clientele is I would literally walk up to people and be like, who does your hair? Like, I could do that. Who does your hair? Or like, gosh, you need a haircut. Like, and people would be like, what? And then people would be like, oh my gosh, I do so bad. And I'm like, well, actually, yeah, oh my gosh, you're so right. You're just thinking about that. And I would hand them like a really nice business card. When I say a really nice business card, I mean like, no, like, yeah, like so thick that if you drop it and you can hear it, and it's like, and it won't even fit in your wallet. Like, there's no way you're getting rid of this thing. Like, I'm gonna remember this dude, and it was really clean and boss. But okay, back to the haircut. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a radial section from ear to ear, and I bring this quadrant out, right? And then I'm gonna go through and I take a profile guide, I bring it all the way to the nape, and I pull this piece out, right? And so I'm gonna be talking some methodology and terminology that you're probably used to, but there's also gonna be some stuff that you probably are gonna freak out about, which is okay. Okay, so now what I wanna do is I take this piece here, and so if you look at my hand, you and I are gonna be discussing the length right now, okay? So I'm gonna go here and I want you to tell me when to stop.
About there.
Right there?
Yeah, as much as you can, but like I still want a little bit of length.
Okay.
But there's a lot of dead.
Right. Okay.
I think that looks good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so if you look at my hand, you see how my fingernail is pointing towards the ceiling and I'm like pinching that hair, right? Everybody see that? I'll turn around so everybody can see. But do we see that? Right? I'm pinching the hair, right? I'm like literally pinching the hair and not letting it go. And I hold it, and then what I do is I go here and I grab my hand and I pull that back, and then as soon as that gets a little taut, I'll come down and I'll point my fingernail towards the ground. And then every time, that's where my guide's gonna be. Right here, where my thumbnail is, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go through and we're gonna cut. Watch this scissor cut, this thing's insane. Okay, we go through and we're going in. I mean, the hair is still there. Like, it wants to live there. I've never cut with a scissor that does that, ever, right? And remember I said that line's so clean that you could see it across the street? I mean, if anybody was back there, they could see that, right? I mean, and it's like, that's dialed in. The thing is with this scissor, this is gonna be a little bit more of an advanced scissor, and so when you cut, that's it. There's no going back. There's no give. It's just a very detailed cut, right? And so now what I wanna do is, this is the fun part. I wanna do a little hands-on, so who wants to come up here and try this scissor? Anybody?
Yeah,
Okay. And also, these are the Hanzo combs, are really, really nice combs too. They're carbon so they don't frizz out. So yeah, I would just cut down on
Okay, I was
the
like-
don't match my guide.
Okay,
Yeah, please,
okay.
please don't.
That's insane.
Right, and so go do that again. I just
Oh.
want to adjust something. So keep your wrist here, and I want you to hold the scissor in place and keep your,
The angle.
yeah. Do you see how you're bending your wrist
Yeah.
like this?
You might have to fix me.
Right, so you're like this,
Okay.
right? you cut like this, it's gonna really, really put strain on your wrist.
Okay.
The proper way to cut is to bring up your wrist, keep your arms straight, keep your elbows straight, and then you see how I'm holding my scissors, like, I'm holding my scissors like this,
Right.
and I'm resting my thumb in the placement, I'm not even putting my thumb inside,
Okay.
right? And so that's something that you're gonna probably have to get used to, but this
Right.
is a proper way to hold.
Okay.
And then when
So I don't
he
know.
showed you like this, when you do that, that's another way to hold it too.
Okay.
But that's why you have
why
these,
is
that's
it
why you have all
in
these
there?
little grooves back here, so you can
Okay.
put your fingers in it, right? And so that's why there's also that, right? So you can let your finger, I mean, really, at the end of the day, I have a toe thumb. My thumb looks like a toe, it's weird. It's not even gonna fit, so I don't even try it,
But you don't need it in
yeah,
there
so
necessarily
yeah,
to
so
cut.
basically cutting like this, but
Okay.
letting the scissors do the work.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go again. Oh, it's like, oh.
But again, we're all here to learn, right? And so this is all constructive criticism.
So, is that, is that
Yeah,
right?
so right here.
Oh my gosh, that is gonna take some getting
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Remember your dental training.
But once
I
you-
know my
once
dental
you-
brain. I'm still kind of bent, but I will definitely work on that.
Yeah, but you're just beginning. I'm just like trying to snap
it.
it
No,
into
thank
shape,
you,
yeah.
thank you.
And so, does anybody else want to try? I won't critique, I promise. You just go for it.
No, critique us, it's good for us.
Yeah.
We need that.
Thank you.
That noise. It's
Yeah.
great. I'm telling you, I've never, usually like the hair kind of pushes out of the way sometimes and stuff.
Just cut however you want to. But take a big piece, get in there.
I didn't get all of that.
Yeah, so just take, don't elevate it, just cut on its own, yeah, there you go. Right.
Good job.
And so normally, do you hear that? Normally that's where that hair is gonna be pushed away, right? This one locks in. And there's a reason that this is the bad boy of the family, right? Because it does things like this, right? When I say it saves me 15 to 20 minutes per haircut, I could take 3 times the amount of hair and still do the exact same thing, so. But that's what we get, right? And so,
cool.
also if there's anybody that needs a swivel, we have swivels in all the scissors except this one, but he'll go over all that with you. Okay, the next thing is, your haircut's done.
It looks great. We give you great.
Super even, super even.
Yeah. We
Really
would
blended,
all have
yeah.
50% of our.
Oh, you wanted the
income taken away.
jellyfish? So, I have a saying, use your tools as your tools, right? Your comb's a tool, your scissors a tool, your hand's a tool. Put them together, it's like a little toolkit, right? If you go in with one hand and you think you're gonna cut a straight line, more than likely it's not gonna happen. It's not because you don't know what you're doing, it's just because of the stability of your hand. Maybe you get that fat part of the blade and you wanna like crunch through it and it kinda gets a little wonky. So what I like to do is I like to take my fingers and I'll put it on the fulcrum and I'll just cut like this, right? So I keep it nice and stable. And you're gonna notice I cut with 2 hands a lot because of that one day that he took 50% off of my haircut prices. And I was like, still to this day, I'm traumatized, you know? And so I cut like this a lot. I used to be like the cool kid, like, you know? And then I was like, okay, I need to relax. And my clients pay top dollar for haircuts, so I need to get these, I need to nail them, right? So now what we're gonna do is you just stay exactly where you're at. And so I keep it nice and straight. And then what I do is I take my comb and then I make it a level, right? So I'll come down and I'll see if that's balanced. It's a little off. And then, thing of beauty. Now what we want to do is we want to take a vertical section from the crown to the front of the ear, and we're going to bring all that hair back, okay? And we're just going to continue to create those corners, right? So bring it all the way back, almost like we're doing a one length, but we're not going behind the ears, but yeah, so something like this, and we'll bring it back. Rule of thumb, if the hair does not reach a section, don't try to cut it. We're just gonna cut big holes into the hair, okay? Now, everybody always asks me, why didn't you put her chin down? Why didn't you put her chin down? The reason I don't put her chin down because she doesn't walk like this, right? This is where her guide's gonna fall, this is where her length is gonna be. If I put her chin down, what that's gonna do is it's gonna create more length, right? So, but now, what I wanna do, how we do? Okay, put your chin down for me all the way. And so now, we've got those pieces underneath. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna grab our workhorse, which is that kime, and I go through and we see exactly where our first cut was, right? It's kind of cool, actually. Take a picture.
Color
I'm just kidding. And so I'm just gonna go through and I'm just gonna point cut, right? And you see I'm just kind of holding my fingers like this. It doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, it's just trying to keep everything stable, right? And go through and I'm just matching that line all the way down. And then what I'm gonna have you do, Diamond, is relax. Now relax. These pieces are now underneath, and so it still looks full, but we don't have any of those random pieces underneath, right? Again, we're gonna really go in and break this up and take care of that line. I just wanted to show you an example of how these scissors work. Okay, next, what we wanna do is, we have corners, right? So what I wanna do is I wanna go take that profile guide and I bring that hair all the way over itself and put it forward, okay? And put that forward, and so old school days, everybody wanted like a short to long haircut. This is a good way to do it, right? You would just go through, create those corners, and you would just kind of slice it, and then it's short to long. Now people kind of want it to be more even from the front to the back, and so how I do that is I go pop it over and going through, and then I look at what the hair, again, I'm looking to see what the hair wants to do, where it wants to live. And so how I find that is I'm grabbing my scissors and I close the blade. I'm gonna put these away because we're gonna take off more hair this time. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you, we're gonna stop with the primates because I just wanna show you what these scissors can do too. So this is the workhorse. This is the one I was telling you about, the kimes. And so I'm gonna comb that over. And then now I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna close them. And I'm gonna slide my scissor up, and then I'm gonna come up here. And then right here is where we want that hair to fall. Right? You can kind of see where that definitive line is. So I'm gonna go through. Just keep going. Right, and then I'll turn her around. See, how's that? Is that way good? Mm-hmm. Right, and so now these pieces are nice and even. Again, what's awesome about cutting hair is we can go through.
Party's wild up there.
I'm like,
It's quieter in the
it's
morning.
falling. The sky is falling. Okay, so basically what we've done now is when I pull this back, remember we created a corner? Now look. Now those pieces are nice and rounded off, right? Bringing those pieces forward has now taken those corners away. Again, if we need to go ahead and make little adjustments, that's the beauty about cutting hair. We can do that. And so now we've got that shape. Right, that length that's good for you. And so there's an easy way so we don't have to go through and cut it and then put it forward and then bring it back and then come over to the side and then match it and lay it down and come to the front and then, you know, it's like snip, done, wrap it up. She's ready, right? Very quick. And so I try to work efficiently as possible, so I've really found the ins and the outs of cutting hair. And again, I can do any haircut. There's not one haircut that I can't do.
So you don't manipulate the hair at all when you're cutting?
No. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, it's like, as we cut this hair, you're gonna see it, you're gonna be like, whoa, it's like literally that shape, exactly what he's saying. And so I'm not moving the hair around, and it's just like letting it fall, right? I mean,
Right.
I could be like, we're done,
Everything's so
right?
even. That's where I think I'm getting the how.
Yeah. From natural fall, because when we cut, what happens when we elevate the hair? What does that do? That creates graduation, right? Which creates more movement, right? So the more we go up, the more graduated it gets, and then we get to a point where we start to create layers, right? So we keep everything at natural fall, 0 degree elevation.
Right.
That keeps it exactly where it's gonna live. So, but also just going for it and
So when
cutting.
we're doing a wet cut, does that mean when we're pulling that straight, that's when it can get uneven? Because when the hair dries, it's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
pull
yeah,
up some
yeah,
of
because,
those-
yeah, it's
'cause when
creating
it's dead
stretch,
wet,
and so
we're
that's why
like-
if you don't wanna pull it too much, right? Because then
Right.
if it stretches and then it'll be off, right?
Okay. But even her hair naturally comes up, I mean, obviously, at the top of her hair,
Yeah.
with bonding, so, I don't know, sorry, my brain's like
Okay.
connecting dots.
This is where the fun starts. I know we're all having so much fun. But now we're gonna go through, we're gonna start creating these really cool fringe pieces, okay? So what I wanna do is, I'm gonna go exactly where her hair parts, which is, looks like that's kind of where it wants to live. And again, if you'll see me like moving the hair around and kind of looking at it, and that's just kind of me just kind of seeing what the hair wants to do, right? And I kind of listen. Sometimes I'll be talking and my clients are like, what? I'm like, I'm talking to your hair. Like, this
It's
is an A
speaking
and
to
B
me.
conversation. And so what I want you to do is I just want you to stay exactly where you're at. Now we're probably getting a little bit of clips. Rule of thumb, anytime you place that comb on the head, where the comb relieves itself from the head is where the bangs need to stop, okay? Unless we want really, really heavy bangs like Paris Hilton, then we can go way back here. Or somebody has fine hair and they want that heavier fringe, and you can go back further and pull that forward, right? As long as those layers will connect, that's really what matters. So what I wanna do, when we do bangs, we do not ever want to go past this edge of the eyebrows. The reason is because it's gonna start creating a weight here, and that's something that we don't want and that we can't control. We wanna do something with bangs, we want as much control as possible, especially if you don't have to do anything to it, then it just makes it that much easier, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take like a really good sized triangle here, and I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna bring this piece back, and I'm gonna put a little clippy up.
I went a little ham with my bangs.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what I told your teacher. I was like, yeah,
She's a little wide.
we gotta fix this.
Thank you.
And so now, we're gonna go through. I thought I had a cue. But now we wanna go through and we're gonna go ahead and approach these things
Head on.
head on. Zing, zing. And so what I wanna do is I'm gonna take a, horizontal section right here. I'm gonna clip that up. And then now what I wanna do is we're gonna go ahead and create our guide. Right, everything I do, I work off triangles, right? So this is a triangle, and now what I wanna do is I'm gonna take another little tiny baby triangle right there. This is where I want that hair to fall. So I'm gonna come down, and I'm keeping everything as natural fall as possible. The reason I'm keeping it natural fall is because that's where that hair lays on the face, right? The more we elevate it, what does that do, as I said earlier? Creates graduation. What do we not want right now? We do not want graduation, right? And the reason is because right now we are cutting a guide. The purpose of a guide is to follow the guide. If we go up and we lose the guide, then we just basically lost the haircut, right? So we want to stay in its place. I'm going as natural fall as possible. She doesn't want to bring these up too far, but we're just going to bring them up a little angle, right? I want to see where that hair parts right there. And I come up and I'm going to take a little tiny baby triangle there. And I take a little baby triangle there. All right? And I think that is going to be good for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm basically imagining that there's another triangle there. So I'm going to take, we call this a diagonal forward. I'm going to grab this piece here right in the center. and I am going to over direct, right? I'm gonna over direct to the middle because I'm trying to keep as much length as possible, moving down. And then I'm gonna grab this piece here, and we're gonna go here, and I'm really trying to keep this length here, but she really notched those pieces up, so.
Just,
Just read me to death, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna take that corner off. So we always want to cross-check with bangs. Bangs are like the most important part of the haircut because that's what they see the most. That's the first thing that they see, right? And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an illusion here. And the illusion is there's going to be more length. And how we're gonna do that is I'm gonna take another piece here. I'm gonna grab that middle piece. There's our guide. See, this should be longer. Okay, and then now we're gonna let that sit. I'm gonna take another little triangle section here. And I'm gonna take that corner off. I'm gonna grab this piece here. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get creative. I'm gonna grab this piece. I'm gonna over direct it. I'm gonna grab this piece. And this is gonna be the tricky one. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to grab our girl Thicky Nicky. And now we're basically going to take that triangle, we're just going to make it bigger, okay? But I want to over direct it a little bit more. I'm going to elevate it because now we want to do some layers, okay? But if you see what I'm doing, I'm standing in front of my section, right? I'm not like cutting like this. I'm coming over and I'm standing in front of my section. Body positioning is super important. I come down with our girl, open up the blade, and closing the blade, right? Let that blade close, and then now we're kind of really opening up those face frame pieces. Right? So now we do the same thing here. I can work with that. So basically, we kind of just covered that piece up, right? And now what we're gonna do is, we're gonna cut on the other side. Have you ever went to go do a haircut, and you're like, nailed it on that side, but the other side, let's push her away from the chair, from the mirror. Everybody get around her so we can, so she can't see anything, right? And it's all about body positioning, right? And so there's those guys on Instagram that have hundreds of thousands of followers that will grab the hair and they
dance.
flick it, and then they'll, you know, they're all up in the client's face, and it's like, dude, just relax. You're totally doing it wrong. And so I think body positioning is super important, but also using the right tools, right? So if you look, I am standing in front of my section, and now I'm over here, right? So I'm on the opposite side, but again, what will this scissor not do? What will the scissor not do? It will not cut a straight line, right? So from the other side, I went like this, right? And all I have to do, super easy. That's it, right? Did I put my face and, or my arm in her face and flip the hair around and get crazy with it and really like hope for the best? No, I didn't. I went in, I come here, I go open, I go in, open up the blade, and I close. And I get the exact same result on the opposite side, right? Yeah,
Perfect layers.
yeah. And so now, I'm gonna elevate a little bit more. I'm gonna come up. And so now that shag is coming along, girl. Bring that piece back again. Oh, some Usher, let's go.
They just play some good music up there.
What is that? What's up there?
A barbershop.
Oh, okay.
Understood.
You like the other class? Okay, so now I wanna check to see what is going on here.
Then I was gonna ask you, do you like doing this with no music on? You want some music on?
No, this is great. We got music upstairs. Yeah.
Like earlier and I forgot.
No, I mean, if I'm doing hair at the salon, I have to have music. But I think we're all like in tune, and I think it's good to be able to really show and teach, you know. But this is gonna look sick. Yeah. Super important that we cross-check our work, right? Cross-checking our work doesn't mean we're not doing it right. It honestly.
Oh, sorry.
You've got necklaces and earrings and all kinds of things. Cross-checking our work is because we know what we're doing, right? And if we go through and we cross-check our work and something's off, then we fix it, and that's the point of it. You're not gonna nail the haircut every time perfectly. That's a proper way to go through and cross-check your work. It's like if your teacher is coming up and she's like, let me check it. Oh, this is off or this is right or whatever. You did a great job, right? And so it's all super important. All I want you to do is turn your head this way for me, right? So we get that out of the way because that's just gonna cause distraction. We go through and we just go ahead and see what needs to be adjusted. Let's go through and we'll take those little pieces up. Okay, and then we're gonna take the other side. And then, want you now, I really adore you. This is my era. You would never think that this would be playing in a barber shop. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
I believe it. It's a female up there.
Oh,
Then
A barberess shop.
Barbarette.
Barbarette?
Barbara.
Oh, it's one girl?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, good for her. Okay, so now, that looks so much better, right? And so again.
feels better.
Yeah, again, we're gonna go through and we'll adjust it accordingly, but the Skittles are popping out. Yeah, it's sick. Okay, normally I'd be like, okay, let me grab my workhorse, we're gonna start with the layers, but I really wanna create as much texture, so we're gonna keep our thicky nicky, okay? So now what we're gonna do is, the purpose of a shag is to create square, right? We're gonna do the opposite of that, and the reason is because we're gonna base everything off a triangle. A triangle is not square, it is a triangle. And so I wanna over direct everything in the back, just to double check to see if it's there. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go triangle section here, right on top of the occipital bone. Then, this is where it kinda gets crazy. People are like, whoa, wait, I love that. I love that feeling. It's messed up, but I love that feeling when somebody's uncomfortable. I'm like, I know what's about to go down, but you don't. Okay, so where we find our guide is basically we've already created it with those face framing layers, and we popped it right here, right? So if we were doing longer layers, this would be our longer layer. If we were doing mid-length, then this would be our mid-length, but we're not. We're going shag, and so this is gonna be our layer, right? So we're gonna go up here, I'm gonna pull that back, right? And so I go here, there's our guide right there, and I would come up straight, but I'm gonna go in at a little bit of almost like I don't know what angle that would be, 20 degrees. So I come up and I'm gonna go here, and then I come down and then I cut that corner off, right? So when I cut that corner off, we've now created a little triangle. So what happens when that falls, that now falls short to long, and look at the lift that body that already creates, right? That's one section we did, and look how much more full her head just got, right? And the reason is because when we go up, we cut that short to long, but then when we cut down, what happens is you cut that internal layer, so those little pieces will now push the hair up and create more lift.
I need this haircut.
And then so now what I want to do with all my haircuts, I like to have the layers kind of moving, flowing, and not being all at the same height. I want them to kind of blend down. So how I achieve that is from long to short, and how I'd achieve that is moving the hair to the previous section, right? So grabbing this section out where it lives, and then I'm pushing it away, right? When I push it away, what that does is it keeps those pieces longer as we move forward, okay? And so now there's our guide. I come up. Again, do we see how that scoops up because it doesn't cut a straight line? And I come down and then now, look at that. That body oddy. Body oddy with that thicky nicky. And there we go. And what's cool with these scissors, look at that texture that it creates, right? It looks like I went in there and but I didn't. I've never done that before, by the way, so it's the first time. There's a lot of first time things I've done in these classes, like saying weird things. Okay, now what I want to do is, that is going to be our guide here. And again, I'm just over directing to the previous section, right? And so now, right? You see that shag pop out? Kind of sick. Yeah. And now what I want to do is I'm going to grab this piece up again. I'm going to pull those pieces now towards me instead of away from me, right? I want to cross-check everything. Nailed it. Grab that piece again. Over direct. I'm going to stop right there at the ear. And we're going to go one more shot up here. So we want to connect these pieces now. So I'm going to take another triangle right here with the diagonal back. I'm going to pull all this piece up, and I'm going to match that guide. But I'm not going to pull it away because I want to keep those pieces full around the face. And so this is another good way to, if she had crazy bangs and they were all whacked out, this is a good way to fix them, right? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab that piece here. There's our guide. And I just come down, right? And so since we hit that piece, now check it. Yeah.
You had a dream you cut this way? That is so insane.
What?
You had a dream that you
Yeah.
cut this way?
Yeah.
That's so insane.
I know.
Spiritual, but
I'm like, thanks.
Like, what?
Thanks, God.
right?
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, I guess.
Oh my
I
gosh.
guess.
And so now, I mean, I could be like, cool, haircut's done, right? But it's not, but we can totally see the difference, right? And that looks pretty sick. I want to bring these pieces out more. And now what we want to do is we want to cross-check the layers first, and then we'll go through and we're going to do some more personalizing. So what I want to do is I want a halo section here, just a little tiny one, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for almost a little triangle, right? So I bring it up, and it's just a little bit, right? So I come through, and if I want to go ahead and adjust it, I can go through and adjust it. But that's what I'm looking for, okay? And then now from the back, I'm not gonna do anything as far as cross-checking the layers. The reason is because I can see the layers, the way that they're falling, but also when we go up and we're gonna really dial in the word. So what we've done is, I know it doesn't look like it, but what we've done is we created a pretty large disconnection, right? However, now we're gonna connect it, right? And so how we do that, we call this block graduation. I don't know if you know what that is, but what we do is we take all that hair up and we raise it all the way up and we pull it all the way 90. And then there is our guide right there, okay? So now what we're gonna do, we call this block graduation. So we basically bring in that block and then we're cutting it. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna create graduation moving all the way down, right? And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go point cut, point cut, point cut, point cut, and then I'm gonna snippity snip, 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 or snip. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold that piece and I'm gonna grab that. And then now I'm gonna do this again. And what I wanna keep that. So I'm gonna go through and I just hit it again. And so now, when it falls, it's now connected, right? And we grab all this again, and we're bringing it up, and the Skittles are popping through, and we come through. Now we're talking. And so we're gonna grab this up, but with this front piece, I don't wanna take off that corner. I wanna keep this, okay? So I bring it up. The reason I wanna keep that is because that's that cool piece that comes down around the face. I don't wanna take that off. If I'm gonna take it off, I'm gonna take it off at natural fall, but I want to obviously go there, so I'll go. And then I'll kinda just go through and I'll break that up, right? And so when that falls, and look at that. And do the same thing here. Grab it up. And then I'm gonna grab this piece, I'm gonna come back. So now,
So cute.
pretty dope, right? And so with color, it took me a while to figure this out, but I always cut around the color, right? If I want to make a certain color pop, then I will cut around it. And so if you look at it, it looks pretty cool and even, right? It looks like those pieces are kind of like shagging out. And so it's something that's going to be a little bit more advanced, but now look at these pieces. They're really, really starting to pop around her face. It looks like she's got like little neon pieces. I mean, she actually does have neon
They
pieces.
do glow.
Yeah, and so, but I want to bring out her bangs a little bit, right? And so what I'm going to do is, we're going to put these away, and I'm going to grab my 8T, okay? So this is going to be, we'll call this like an eraser, right? So it's got a lot more teeth than that, and the reason is because I just want to create little soft pieces, okay? So how I'm going to do that is, I'm going to grab this piece, and I'm literally just going to over direct it up. I'm gonna take this piece here and I'm gonna go in. I could go in here, but I'm gonna go in like this. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna create those really cool wispy pieces around the. So get those colors to pop a little bit more, right? Now we're gonna go through, we're gonna do the 6T, right? So now we're gonna really go in and hammer in the texture, because we got a lot of texture now, but again, these are gonna be visual texture. So it's gonna take out less hair. It's gonna create more movement, right? Little pockets of air, like I said earlier, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab all this here, and we're just gonna go through, and we wanna connect that soft connection, because there's that disconnection. So what we do is, we do not ever go in here, right? We don't ever wanna go in square. What if we wanna go in at an angle? Great, right? So if I wanna go in deep, and really take those pieces out and soften it up, and then now when it falls, see how it gets a little bit more softer? I'm gonna do the same thing here.
And when you're grabbing sections for that, does it matter how you're taking the sections?
So the way that I go is, I go one big section, one quadrant, one quadrant.
Okay,
Yeah, so basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
okay.
Yeah. And then on this piece, I always go away from the face, because we've already done the amazingness over around the face, so we're just gonna pull everything away from the face, right? But now this is like starting to really pop.
Chocolate little layer for me.
Grab here. Just kind of want to see what the hair is doing when I do that. Oh, look at that. Ha! White combs! Who's that? Who did that?
He put those down there before you even started.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
He's like, oh.
Said, oh, I found these.
Okay, so now we're gonna do some cool pieces, right? So now we're gonna really go in and pop these pieces out. We're gonna do a slide cutting, right? So I'm gonna go in with our blade, and I'm gonna go with the hair, okay? So I come in, and I go open up the blade, and I come down, right? Open up the blade, and I come down. Open up the blade, and I come down. Open up the blade, and I come down. I'm just really going in softly, right? Really taking out those cool pieces, and now what's gonna happen is her bangs are gonna really start to pop around her face, right? So now, look at all that movement, right? It creates a little bit more movement, and now I'm gonna come down here. I wanna push everything towards the face. We're gonna be doing more slide cutting. So I start here, come up, I'm going with the shape of the head, I come down, I open up the blade and I come down, I open up the blade and I come down, open up the blade, come down. She's on fire. And so this is all kind of personalizing, right? We're just gonna go through and personalize it. I wanna break up those ends a little bit more. So I come here and I just go here. And what I'm doing is going here. Grab that hair. Can someone turn on my iron for me? It's that black one right there. Thank you. Yeah. Sick. so do us a big favor, put your chin back for us and give us a little shake like this. Okay, stop. Relax. There we go.
Just put on some Paramore now.
Yeah.
I did see him in like
I'm gonna put a
2008.
quick little bend in it. But that is my rendition of a shag.